Well, two new radical state bills have just been introduced. One of them brings absolute mayhem and bondage, while the other one brings freedom to the American people. The question is, which is going to pass and which direction are these states going to take? Now, before I get into the report, just a quick break. One of the main reasons for fine lines and wrinkles in your skin is the lack of collagen, the protein that is responsible for the elasticity and youthfulness in your skin. As you get older, collagen production slows down by as much as 10% every single decade. But you can give your skin a much needed boost by checking out BioTrust multi-collagen formula at healthwithlisa.com. This ultra-rich powder delivers rejuvenation to your hair, your skin, your joints, and your nails. This multi-collagen uses powerhouse ingredients that can visibly reduce your fine lines and your wrinkles. It also makes you feel uplifted and rejuvenates your cell-renewing proteins. I personally use this collagen every single day, and it has personally become my favorite skin rejuvenation supplement. And it's so easy to use. All you have to do, and I've got my coffee here, is take 1 scoop of this, and I'm just going to scoop out 1, and you can mix it in your favorite drink, either your coffee or if you like to do shakes in the morning, you just dump it in, stir it up. It doesn't clump or anything like that, and it's tasteless. It doesn't have any big taste or anything to that level, but you can see it here stirred in the coffee, and it tastes fabulous. You barely even taste it in your coffee. Amazing. Still tastes like coffee. I am so thrilled with the results that I have personally experienced, and it's so easy for you guys to get your hand on this product. All you have to do is go to healthwithlisa.com. Here's the website here, and right now for my viewers only, they are offering up to 51% off if you go directly to that site. There's also added bonuses for you guys. That includes a 60-day money-back guarantees. These are some of the added benefits that BioTrust personally does. So check it out at healthwithlisa.com, and if you want more information, it's in the description box below. All right, back to the broadcast. So just what are these two new pieces of legislation that are being introduced by separate states? Well, let's start first with the piece of legislation that brings absolute mayhem and bondage specifically to the people of Illinois. I'm talking about HB 4640, which was introduced by Deb Conroy, a representative there in Illinois. Now, this particular piece of legislation is literally calling for a massive database of the people of Illinois that contains all their medical history, and it can be public to certain agencies and health professionals. This is going against everything, specifically our rights to our privacy and our rights to our medical records. Not only that, but even more terrifying, it calls for the quarantining of individuals who refuse to be observed or refuse to be monitored. In other words, it's very likely that this could well pertain to the unvaccinated and maybe even the vaccinated, depending on who they want to target at the time. Take a look at this legislation here and what I'm talking about. But here it is. I'm going to go straight to the bill itself so you can see it. But this is the bill status of HB 4640, and you can see Representative Deb Conroy at the top. But here's what it states at the very, very top, and this is your data collection on steroids. But it creates the Access of Public Health Data Act, provides the Department of Public Health, the Department of Human Services, the Department of Child and Family Services shall, at the request of a local health department in Illinois, make any and all public health data related to residents of that local health department's jurisdiction available to that local health department for the purpose of preventing or controlling the disease, injury, or disability. And as you're going to see further on in this, they can also use that system to quarantine or monitor certain individuals. And here it is. Let's go to the actual document here. And if you go, it says basically amended. We click on this first one here, and this is what I've brought up, but this is it. And I'm going to scroll down a little bit to the middle section. It's so you can see where I'm at here, FDF, kind of down in that area. But here's the part that is very worrisome, and this is what it says. The department may order observation and monitoring of persons to prevent the spread of a dangerously contagious or infectious disease, to prevent the spread of a dangerously contagious or infectious disease, the department may, pursuant of the provisions of the subsection C of this section, and here it is, they may isolate or quarantine persons whose refusal to undergo observation and monitoring results in uncertainty regarding whether he or she has been exposed or is infected with a dangerously contagious or infectious disease or otherwise pose a danger to the public's health. Now, that could be a number of things. They could say anyone poses a danger to the public's health. They can say if you're unvaccinated, you pose a danger to the public's health, or fill in the blank. So this verbiage really needs to be broken down and clarified. And right now it's not, because they can really deem anyone to pose a danger to the public's health. It's not really specified. It goes on. An individual may refuse to undergo observation and monitoring, but there's more on that, okay? It goes on. And individuals shall be given a written notice and shall include the notice in the following. So this is the notice that they're given, that the individual may refuse to undergo observation and monitoring. The second one there, that if they, individuals consent to observation and monitoring, the results of that observation and monitoring may subject the individual to isolation or quarantine. And the third part of this, the triple one here, that if the individual refuses, if you refuse to undergo observation and monitoring, and that refusal results in uncertainty regarding whether he or she has been exposed to or is infected with a dangerously contagious or infectious disease or otherwise pose a danger to the public's health, the individual may be subject to isolation or quarantine pursuant to the provisions of the subsection C there. So there you have it. If you refuse to be monitored or observed, or you're considered a danger to the public health based off of whatever speculation they have, then you can be sent to some kind of quarantine center. Now, the good news is there's massive opposition to this bill. This is a huge move on the side of freedom. And here it is. It says, Illinois General Assembly. And here is where people can voice if they oppose or if they support or if they take no position whatsoever. And what I want you to know is that little gray one in the middle that says opponents, 12,485 people have signed on opposing HB 4640. Only 80 people, 80 are supporting it. Somebody asked a question why those people are supporting it, but there it is. And the rest have no position whatsoever. That's the first piece of legislation. And in my opinion, that's a very radical piece of legislation that a lot of questions are left off the table. We don't really know which way that could go. Who could they declare as a public health hazard? Could they do that with the unvaccinated or not? I guess that's for you to decide, but I think it's something that needs to be clarified in the particular document. That would be something I would want to know on this piece of legislation, but there you have it. Now, let's go on to the side of freedom, because there's another bill that is now being introduced in the state of Arizona. Woohoo! My home state where I'm at. I got to give them props for that one. But this piece of legislation is awesome. And this is the kind of legislation we need all across the globe. And I believe it brings freedom. Take a look at what I'm talking about here. And this is on Fox News. Arizona bill will force employers to compensate workers fired for refusing the vaccine. I love it. Here's what it says. A bill in Arizona that passed its first hurdle in the House, because it's already passed part of its way, would force employers to pay workers who were fired for refusing the COVID-19 vaccine. Exemptions and accommodations were supposed to be made according to the Civil Rights Act and Arizona's own AG. So it is very disappointing that businesses are ignoring the individual rights of people and employees and terminating as a small business owner. I wouldn't do that. So it's disheartening. We need the government to protect these people, says Arizona State Representative Steve Kaiser, and he told that to Fox News. Now, the bill passed already Arizona's House Commerce Committee on Tuesday and is now moving on to the full House floor in the coming weeks. So if you're here in Arizona, contact those people and let them know you support it. But let's go to the actual bill, and it's HB 2198, and you can see it was introduced by Representative Kaiser. Let's go on to quote what it says here. And here's what it says. It says employee compensation termination COVID-19 vaccines. Notwithstanding any other law, an employee who is terminated for not receiving a COVID-19 vaccine as a condition of employment shall receive either the following. 1, severance compensation paid by an employer in the amount of their employee's annual salary in one lump sum or installment payments over 12 months. Or number 2, reemploy them with the employer or reemployment with the employer at the same or similar position held on the date the employee was terminated and a reasonable accommodation provided by the employer to the employee. Amen. Very clear. I don't see any misverbiage on that. That is a very clear piece of legislation. Thank you, Representative Kaiser of Arizona. This is great news. This is great news. And unlike the Democrats, where it's so overly verby and it could go any which direction, this piece of legislation is very clear. Hey, if you're going to fire someone due to the vaccine, then you owe them some money, or you're going to rehire them in the same position or similar, which means you don't downgrade them to something else. It has to be similar. I love it. I love it. If you're not in Arizona, you should be in Arizona. Meanwhile, we've got lots of things happening across the country that I want you to be aware of. Here we have Fox News Denver dropping mask or proof of vaccine required. Omicron has run out of fuel. Amen, amen, amen. And not just here in the U.S., this is happening globally. Here we have Fox News, no more COVID mania in Scandinavia. Finland drops all COVID restrictions. We also have UK lifts COVID restrictions, said Omicron wave has peaked. It's not just there. Denmark drops most of its COVID-19 restrictions, and also Ireland to drop almost all COVID restrictions. And there's many other countries doing this, but this is like wildfire. It's spreading. People have had enough of all these tyrannical mandates. Anyhow, I love all of you. Please make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. Unfortunately, people have been being removed from my channel en masse, so make sure you have that bell clicked and are still getting those notifications. And by the way, check me out on Rumble. I'm on Restricted Republic there on Rumble. You can get me there, or I'm even on BitChute under Lisa Haven-Restricted Republic. So get to these alternative platforms. We don't know how long we're going to be here. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.